Hello, welcome to this week's edition of the Sedra. This week's Sedra Tisah is very exciting. Unfortunately, we also have the incident of the golden calf, of the Egel Zahav in this week's Sedra, which isn't the highlight of our history, but does teach us a number of very important lessons. The Sedra starts off with a discussion of giving the Machasit shekel in order to count Bnei Yisrael and take a census, moves on to the halachot of Shabbat, and then we enter into the story of the golden calf. As the Sedra goes on, we learn some of our most deep philosophical points, where Moshe Rabbeinu asks to understand Hashem and learns that man can't fully grasp what Hashem is. There's a lot to look at this week's Sedra, so you really got to get to work. This Shabbos, take out your Chumash and really open up the Sedra and study it and analyze it well. What we find among the commentators in this week's Sedra, and I'm sure upon your research you'll find the same, a lot discussing how it is that Bnei Yisrael was able to fall so far, and especially coming off of Har Sinai, an incredible moment after Yetzias Mitzrayim, the Exodus, and witnessing all the miracles. All of a sudden, what do we find? We find that Bnei Yisrael are sitting in idolatry, a sin that we can't grasp today, all the more so after having the manifestation of God Himself. How could they have sinned so greatly? The commentators give various explanations. But what I'd like to suggest is that all the commentators and all their suggestions that they give are really secondary causes. Let me explain what I mean. The Gemara in Sota explains that the primary cause for all sins is what they call ruach shtus, a spirit of folly, as we like to say, a spirit of foolishness. In order for man to sin, man has to set aside what he knows to be correct and delve into what he knows to be incorrect, into the foolishness of this world. That's the first step towards this sin, and any sin really. Bnei Yisrael, in order to get to that next level of building the golden calf, they had to leave what they knew to be correct, that there was one God. Once they were able to enter into that foolishness and ascribe themselves to it, at that point, whatever secondary reasons caused them to make a calf, forget about God, were all exactly that secondary. The primary reason for Bnei Yisrael sinning, as we see this week, is the idea that they set aside what they knew to be correct. And that's really, in our lives, that's the lesson we take out of this week's Sedra, that in all sin, in all times that we sin, it's really first the decision to set aside our intellects, to set aside what we know to be correct, and delve into our emotional desires. The lesson for us, obviously, is that in order to stay straight and in order to not sin, we've always got to keep aware of what our priorities are and stick to them. That's the lesson of this week's Sedra. Please don't forget to check out the other interesting things we have on this website, especially the Torah section. This week, check out the Take 10 for Torah. An interesting idea in Tefillah where we spend 10 minutes analyzing in a very methodological way different aspects of prayer and other areas in halacha. Shabbat Shalom.